Hello, and welcome to another Contemplative Living. Ugh, I have to take these earbuds out. It drives me nuts. So, welcome. We're here for another Contemplative Living where we talk about concepts to bring contemplative living into our everyday lives. You know, Spirit once said to me, if you want to improve your life, you have to heal your life with truth. And what we're talking about there is how truth is all-encompassing in a lot of our life. And when we dedicate ourselves to truthfulness, then it smooths the way. There's less restriction, less resistance. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, truthfulness. So let's get to it.
Welcome. Now creating a life of peace. This is Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Contemplations and reflections to help with spiritual living. This podcast is made possible by dharmatalks.com.
All right, so we're talking about truthfulness. This is a subject that, especially after my near-death experience, became a major driving force in my life. I just have to say, I needed to find my truth, and I'm going to talk more about that, about how we have our own truth, our personal truth. We have the factual truth, and how sometimes we can have truth that kind of outlies a little bit. So, anyway, our lives teach us to live with peace, and to do this well, we're truthful with ourselves and with others. So, life is a journey full of twists and turns. But one thing remains constant throughout: the need for peace. It's an inner state that allows us to navigate through the ups and downs in life with grace and with ease. However, achieving peace isn't always easy. In fact, it requires honesty, great honesty, both with ourselves and with others. Being truthful means taking responsibility for our actions, for our thoughts, and our emotions. We must be willing to acknowledge our mistakes without blaming others or making excuses. This can be challenging because it requires vulnerability. We have to expose our flaws and our weaknesses. But being honest also frees us from the burden of hiding behind lies or half-truths. When we're truthful with ourselves, we gain insight into our motivations, our desires, allowing us to make better choices in life. Similarly, when we are truthful with others, we build trustful relationships rooted in authenticity rather than in facades. We become more empathic toward the experience of those around us. And we develop meaningful connections based on mutual understanding. Truthfulness is crucial for living a peaceful life and a life filled with genuine interactions. Interactions that foster love instead of discordance. And only then will we realize our true potential as individuals who live life honestly while respecting ourselves as well as those that we interact with daily. When we see the truth of how things are, we find understanding, and that is such a relief. When we walk through life and we're in that fog that just seems to be constantly perpetuated, it can feel lost. We can feel like we're wandering. We're going down the road, but we don't have a sense of direction. Well, truth can be our guiding star. Truth can help us to navigate life and give us such relief when we know we're living within our truth. So we vow to use our many weaknesses and failures in the process of learning the truth of things. Many times we go into things blindly and we don't know the truth. And so, but we have input coming at us from all different directions. And so we tend to, fall victim many times to falsehoods or half-truths. And sometimes, people create these fantasies and we get carried along. And so that's our weakness. Our weakness is sometimes we just follow rather than seeking the truth and learning the truth of how things are and the way they are. So truth is not what we think it should be, but as it actually is. Truth is truth. Now, there is a truth that resides within us, our personal truth, and I'm going to talk about that. But many times, the truth that we're seeking to live with, the truth we want to maintain within us, is not what we think. A lot of times we fabricate and go outside the boundaries of truth. And we're human, that's going to happen. But we need to maintain that basis. We need to maintain that center of who we are, honesty, authenticity, and truthfulness. So with truthfulness, you approach life more from the heart. And when you're truthful with yourself and others, you're able to connect with your emotions in a deeper way. You become more aware of how certain situations or people make you feel and can act. So being truthful also allows for genuine connections with those around us. It creates a space where we can be vulnerable and open without fear of judgment, without fear of rejection. This vulnerability strengthens relationships and fosters trust between individuals. We want friendships that are truthful. We want to be honest with our friends. But being truthful doesn't mean being insensitive or harsh towards others. It means communicating honestly but compassionately, taking into account others' feelings as well as your own. In order to live truthfully, it's important to listen to our intuition and follow our values instead of trying to conform to some social norm that we've been exposed to or some others' expectations. And by doing so, we create a life that is authentic and fulfilling. I talked about personal truth, and that resides in our heart. I learned this because after my near-death experience, truth was one of the things that I just, acceptance of myself, tolerance of others, but living within my truth was part of a new mantra that I tried to aspire to. Well, I realized that we have this personal truth, and this personal truth resonates in our hearts. So when we start listening through our hearts, our mind is great for logical sequencing and rationalizing things and all of that. It's wonderful. But when we use it together with our heart and listening through our heart, we get to experience and to feel when one of our personal truths come into our lives, because our heart then just resonates. It feels it. And so This is what I'm trying to say about truthfulness, is living within our heart. It allows life to be much more empowering, much more vital, and we're able to really move through life. So truthfulness is based on an honest, heartfelt relationship with our lived experience. And what I'm trying to say is we have lived this life, or we're living this life. But many times, all the interactions that we have kind of get jumbled up. But when we have an honest relationship with who we are and our life's experiences, we can glean the truth out. We can see it, we can examine it, we can apply it in all of our interactions. And so we really want truthfulness based on a heartfelt relationship with our own lived experiences. And devotion to truthful speech is a matter of taking a stand on reality rather than illusion or fantasy. So let's be honest. We live in a world that's full of illusions and fantasies. And it can be challenging to discern what real truth is. However, one thing that remains constant is the importance of truthful speech, devoting oneself to honesty and taking a stand for reality. Choosing to speak the truth requires courage and conviction, especially nowadays. It means acknowledging uncomfortable truths instead of sugarcoating them or hiding them behind some falsehoods. Truthful speech also fosters trust amongst individuals because it builds an environment of transparency and reliability. Moreover, being truthful demands careful consideration before speaking. Take a breath and allow yourself to weigh the consequences of the words and the actions. It involves empathy and understanding in recognizing how our actions may impact others' well-being. Honesty should not be applied to our interactions with others, but also in how we communicate with ourselves. Being honest about our flaws, our fears, and limitations can help us to grow as individuals by identifying areas for improvement within ourselves. So devotion to truthful speech transcends beyond mere communication. It reflects our values. Remember, truth we want as our guiding star in our path. And so it reflects our values as human beings who are trying to strive for authenticity. We're trying to be authentic individuals and beings and living the best life. And we want to bring truthfulness into all aspects of life. So I hope you're able to look at your life, look at your interactions, and look at the truth that you've been able to establish within your life. Bring that to bear in all your interactions. Allow yourself to be that authentic, honest, and truthful person. And allow that to show you a path forward. And I think you'll find that once you start living with those higher ideals, that life will be less resistant and you'll have a smoother path because truth is simple and efficient. I hope you have a blessed week. Namaste.
Thank you for listening today to Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Please be sure to subscribe, listen, and share with your friends wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and the Podbean app. You can find the links to these on David's website, dharmatalks.com, on the Contemplative Living page. Have a blessed week.